Peace, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. It is I, Solely, the Mystic Spiritual Advisor. Now, here on my channel, every video I create is dedicated to the expansion of your awareness. Now, today I will be, in a sense, discussing my near-death experience and, in a sense, pull certain, lessons I learned from that, experiences I've learned from that to bring to this current situation, because for the most part, fear, I feel is a low vibrational emotion that, in a sense, only probably really exists in these third dimensional or physical dense bodies. I'm certain that six dimensional entities, they're not aware, they don't even know what fear is, what jealousy is, what this is, what that is, and guess the thing is, as human beings, we are multi-dimensional, meaning we have aspects of ourselves that are three-dimensional. We have aspects of ourselves that are, well, a lot of, so the thing is, we have aspects of ourselves, three-dimensional, fifth-dimensional, sixth-dimensional, seventh-dimensional. Well, let me say this. You see, the thing is, with the chakras, right? The chakras, there are approximately 7 chakras, and every chakra, in a sense, identifies with a specific body. It identifies with a specific body, or with a specific I am. So the root chakra is the physical body. The sacral chakra is the emotional body. The solar plexus is, in a sense, the energetic body. Then the third eye, in a sense, is the original archetype, you can kind of say, because you see, well, the third eye is the archetypal body, if this makes sense. In a sense, the third eye, the body connected to the third eye, in a sense, can be the body connected to the third eye, in a sense, can is in a way like kind of the avatar. Well, as the avatar that inherits this physical body, in a sense, you can kind of say, the third eye is the soul of the seat. It's the lamp. Wait, it's the seat of the soul. Whoa, it's the soul. It's the seat of the soul. It's the lamp of the soul. It illuminates our realities, our worlds. It does all these things. So, yes, for the most part, the third eye is very, very crucial and vital. Now, back to what I was saying, so if we had this understanding, this realization that we, in a sense, have bodies that exist in all dimensions, then we wouldn't be precisely as fearful as we are in these times. Keep in mind, it's kind of like with 9/11, with 9/11, there was so much deception with 9/11, and the outcome of that experience was fear. It was trauma at a global level, trauma that took place in, certain people's lives. Trauma, in a sense, is really something that takes place, something that takes place too fast, too soon, Boom, traumatic experience. 9/11, the way it unfolded and everything was very, very traumatic for a lot of people, Even with this COVID-19, it's very traumatic for a lot of us, and this is because so much is happening so fast. So much so fast, and really, I feel like the traumatic aspect of it does also come with, like, the unexperienced, the never having experienced what we're going through, but there's a lot of layers to it. So ultimately, in this state of fear, we neglect our higher chakras, we neglect our brain, our thinking. We literally, like, even from a scientific perspective, you literally neglect your mind, your thinking. When you are in a fear-based state, only two things matter. your survival. So you are all you're focused on is upon survival, and you are so easier to control in that state because while you're focused on surviving, you're not paying attention to details. You're not looking at your environment or anything like that. It's kind of like, let's say, certain people who kind of have lost everything, and from a financial perspective, you can even say, and you can say they're in a sense out in the streets, right? Even them, they in a sense have gone into a place where it's really just survival, no time to think, just constantly survive, 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 as long as they're in that state of survival. And because as human beings, we are very, very, you can say, I don't want to say admired. Well, we are in a sense admired, by the ones that came before us, by our ancestors, which is the same thing, by our spirit guides and things of that nature. Now, we also have to understand that our source isn't our employer, our income stream. Then precisely isn't coming from, like our employer. Like, it's not like from a physical perspective, that you in a sense attain stability or like just attain things in general. Like, a lot of us do think that the source is the government, and a lot of people on this planet, I feel, can't go beyond that, they can't go beyond religion, they can't go beyond the government, politics. And this is due to the fact that the same ones who ran, rather I should say, religion in the, in the olden times, olden days, you can say, are the same folks who are involved in politics at this moment, at this time. It's not by coincidence, that religion mixes with politics, politicians. And religion in of itself is so corrupt. Now, I am sitting next to a stream of water, and for the most part, that water stays clean, you can say. But for the most part, just in general, when you are by a river, that stream of water, as long as it's flowing, it's going to stay clean and it's going to stay fresh. Now, what happens is stagnation. When the water starts stagnating, for whatever reason the water is not able to flow, then what happens is shit starts accumulating. Dirt starts accumulating, problems start coming up, bacteria starts growing, and yada yada yada. The same, in a sense, is the same. The same relates to human beings. As human beings, this is the case for us too. As human beings, in a sense, we. How do I put this? As human beings, in a sense, we also need to consistently flow. The mind needs to flow, energy needs to flow. Thoughts are energy. They are the most high, they're the highest of density. They are the highest frequencies on this physical realm, Like, a thought is very, very high vibrational, if this makes sense. I apologize for the sound, the wind, even though I don't think it should be that bad. But yes, thoughts are very powerful, and when thoughts start stagnating, they start, in a sense, creating problems. Because as human beings, we are made to be expansive, and this is what things like religion do. They, in a sense, stagnate your mind. They stagnate you, and they put you in a state or in a place where you kind of start regressing, going backwards, right? Like water going from clean, pure to being, dirty, it is backwards, right? But yes, this is what happens. When we, in a sense, choose to, like, you can say, set aside what we know we should invest in, and, in a sense, just live life, So yes, for example, even with this coronavirus, COVID-19, we really should what we are being made, or what we this because look, we are experiencing mind control in a sense at a global level. As a practicing hypnotherapist, one of like a tactic, one, to put someone in trance, is to invoke powerful emotions, right? That's one. um Kind of to traumatize someone too. Now, I don't want to get all dark here, but you know, with the pedophilia that takes place, and the sex rings and all of these things, one of the reasons why, Satanists specifically, well, are into stuff of this nature, is because, well, it's a lot, there's a lot of aspects to it. Like, one, through trauma. Damn, I don't even want to talk about this because it's just but yes, one of the reasons is because they want to traumatize children, and in that feeling of like traumatization, feeling of like weakness, vulnerability, in a sense, a children is so fucking open and receptive, to receiving certain messages, certain messages and things of this nature. In a sense, kind of like becoming a vessel which these entities can what the fuck is the term? These entities can like embed a thought in, and they do this, like, it's not only just that, but there's a mix, like, from keeping kids drugged to programming us, and this and this and that. Now, specific people are more vulnerable depending on, what they've been through and things of that nature. And because of this vulnerability, and because of this embeddedness or implantation of a thought that took place previously, what happens is, in a sense, they become more susceptible to, being vessels, empty vessels, rather, I should say. Now, in a sense, this is what you see when like, there's kids who shoot up schools, kids who just do weird fucking shit, or just people in general. People in general. A lot of these people are either empty vessels, or they're just in general empty vessels for the most part. I'll just leave it at that. Empty vessels. An empty vessel. Now, an empty vessel is ultimately an entity or someone who is disconnected from God, disconnected from who they are, because maybe they're way too fucking religious. Even, in the process, or in being religious, even, there is this sense of like giving away your power, and there is this sense of like not investing, but like believing in a delusion, because it is very delusional, to believe that this life, in a sense, you have to do this and that, and to believe that your next life, you will be paid for what you are doing in this lifetime. A lot of people, in a sense, go about wasting their life, go about, being stuck in in religion, being stuck in a practice of philosophy. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that, like, it's wrong in all assets, but yes, I definitely do believe that religion can be beneficial for the most part. It can benefit certain people, but the thing is, religion is a tool, and we should approach it as so. You shouldn't allow this tool to utilize you, but we really need to, understand how to utilize all aspects, all fucking all aspects of life, all religions, all scriptures, all books and religions, because they all have a thing or two to teach us. And this is because most religions are built on, ancient knowledge and wisdom. Well, religion is literally just that, stagnation. Religion is when human beings, is a group of religion, a region, a league, religious, yeah. Okay. Yeah, a religion, in a sense, is like a league or a group of people who have agreed that there is only one way, and it is the only way. Whereas spiritualists, we more understand that there is more than just one way, and we're very open-minded. Now, I'm talking about spirituality. Spirituality is very, very vital and important, and I do also feel like, in a sense, like, I'm really invoked to say this, like, obeying is a form, obeying, being in a obeying citizen, being gullible, being, in a sense, submitting to the government. I feel is also a form of, like, religion. A lot of people don't understand that God is source. God is your source. That's what, in a sense, God is. God is your source. Christians, their God is the source in which they, attain power from. Their God is the source in which they, get sourced. Like, they get sourced. Like, their God is the source that supplies them, rather, I should say. And a lot of people's God is the government. A lot of people's gods are the fucking governments. Now, there are also certain people out there that are, in a sense, stuck, lost, rather, I should say, in the light, blinded by the light so much that the light is their God. What do I mean by this? So, light, we need to also understand that light and darkness, they're both very vital and necessary and important. Now, for the most part, when I say light, I was more referring to, atheists who believe in more in believe in more in science. Science, well, light, in a sense, is information, Information, light codes, music, all of these things are forms of, like, anything that's light is information. Anything that's light is information, you can say, because one way or another, it illuminates you, it enlightens you. You read a book, and now you're enlightened. You listen to something, now you're enlightened. Yada yada yada. So some people, they they get so stuck and lost that they believe in light. And now light, in a sense, is illusionary, because the only way you perceive light is through these senses, these illusionary ass senses. These 5 fucking senses. So by being someone who it gets lost in the light, they, in a sense, get lost in the body. They get lost in this illusion. Now, I want to say this, though. Like, all of us are here to experience something, and we will experience that. I'm not here to say that this person is right and this person is wrong. Like, we're all here to experience one thing or another. And what we are supposed to experience, we will experience. Maybe some of us are to experience death. All of us are going to experience death. What am I saying? Maybe some of us, are to experience traumatic events. And for a soul evolution, one way or another, for it'll benefit us, and our soul knows it'll benefit us. Now, in conclusion, I've said all of this, and I really haven't even talked about my near-death experience, have I? But then again, in a way, I kind of did, right? In a way, I kind of did. Now, my near-death experience. One thing I learned from my near-death experience was that there is no death. That literally this physical body is temporary, like, this is a suit, an avatar that you can choose to step back into or choose to step out of, if you get what I mean. And I say this because I actually chose, to come back, chose to step back in my body. Like, I had a death time, my heart rate, my heart just stopped beating, everything, for like 3 minutes, 3 minutes, I think it was, 3 minutes exactly. And yeah, but, yeah. And it's funny because I also recall, me choosing to return. Like, I was like, nah, I want to come back. Like, I want to return. And in doing so, I actually did return, if this makes sense. In doing so and choosing to return, I returned. Like, I was dead, but I returned because I innately chose to return. Because I had a choice, either to stay where I was, where I went after death, or to return to this earth, as I was not yet done with what I came here to complete, what I came here to achieve. If that makes sense. Now, yes, okay. So that really showed me and taught me, that the physical body really is temporary. Like, the thing with the physical body is a lot of us get stuck in it. We think that reality is what we can sense. Someone once said to believe in what you can see, what you can touch, what you can feel is no belief at all. No belief at all. But to believe what you but to believe what you can't see is believe. Like having faith is true belief. But just believing in this and this and that is no belief at all. And the ones that truly at this time believe that we are changing, shifting, going into a whole new world, a whole different time and order. Ooh, look at that that thing right there. Almost looks like a pentagram. But yes, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like. But yes, you guys, yes.